Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Genre. I'm Elise,
I'm Katy.
and today we are talking about We Who Will Die by Stacia Stark. But first, we have some things to say. Katy, why don't you kick us off?
Okay, I have nothing to say related to books.
Oh, okay.
But I will say that Elise knows I've been desperately trying to be a lip liner girly
My God.
and have been like searching for a way to wear lip liner and like figure out how to overline my lips. And I watched all the TikTok videos. I watched every edit I could possibly find. And it's just not, it just wasn't working out for me. And what I realized is that I need a thicker liner.
Yeah.
And honestly, I didn't wanna spend the money on the road ones because I
Mhm.
heard that L'Oreal was coming out with, like, a dupe. And so Elise knows we went to a bunch of places in Delaware to see if they had it, and then they didn't. And this morning, before 10 AM, when I was on my way to work, I went into the Ulta down in Herald Square, asked a gal that worked there if they had it because online it said that it was there. She couldn't find it. She couldn't find it. And so when I got to my office, I was like, "You know what? Let me just see if I can buy online, pick up in store. Maybe this lady just didn't know where they were." And so I did. I have secured
Oh my God, you have two.
I have 2 of these. This is honestly actually the wrong color. They gave me the wrong color and whatever. I'm gonna go with it. But so far I like them. They're called the Blur Filler Blurring Lip Contour, and they're a thick.
A thick boy.
Oh, here.
Yep.
Look at that.
What are you, an
And I don't know.
influencer?
Yeah,
Hand behind the lip liner.
I know. And so I'm wearing it right now, and it's very creamy and nice, and it really made my day because I've been searching for them for months.
Hmm.
Not months, weeks, they're new.
Yeah, but I mean, sounds like that Ulta person was the second person in 48 hours you pretty much asked to go into the back to see if they had it in stock because you did that to the CVS down in Delaware as well.
Yep, and she could not find it, nor did the man down in
Yeah.
Delaware find it.
Yeah. You think it's gonna solve the problem that I think you have, which is that you're just trying to put on lip liner and then lip gloss over it, and that doesn't make any sense to me?
I don't know, Elise. We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
We're gonna find
Listen,
out. I'm not really so sure, but I'm ready to be that girl. So
yeah. I will say since you probably used the genre TikTok account to look up some videos of it, I have now been getting served also some ads
mhm.
for this L'Oreal blurring lip liner. I'm interested now.
I think you would like this color.
Yeah, because, like, also I can see that it doesn't overline your lips so much as
Shape them, define
shape
them.
them a little bit. Yeah, because it's thick, and I'm like, "I could be interested in that. I could be
Yeah.
interested in that."
What do you know? It's a makeup podcast now.
I know. We contain multitudes over here.
Mhm. What can we
Girl,
say? We're just girls.
we're just girls.
Yeah,
Just
that's all I
girls.
got to say. Yeah. What do you
So,
got
I
for
mean,
me?
I had so many things to talk about, but I think I'm gonna talk about a podcast-related one, which is we recorded an episode. Honestly, feels like 20 years ago, but I think it was 2 days ago,
Yeah, 48
where
hours.
yeah, 48 hours ago when we were in person, and when we were done, Katie's mic had an incredible echo on it, and as we've been saying here on this podcast, we're really learning as we go,
Yeah.
and for whatever reason, Katie's mic and Katie's phone were both picking up audio, so now this has an echo that's just unlistenable, and I said, "No, this can be fixed in post, and I'm gonna figure out how." And so, all of a sudden, here I am researching deep into the night. Like, I should have been sleeping, and I was not sleeping. I was just on my phone doing a lot of little Googlings, YouTubing tutorials about how you would fix this, and everybody told me, "Gotta get, Premiere, Adobe Premiere, the Adobe Creative Suite." Like I'm a creative director. Like I have any business being in a place where there's also Photoshop. I have no business being in this suite, but I'm in it now. I'm in the suite. And I'll be honest with you, it
Is it
worked.
working?
It worked. So it's we now will have clean audio for sure. Um the video I think will be another question. That's the one thing that
Oh,
I'm
you didn't figure out the video.
No, I can't figure out the multicam because something is wrong. I think it's because one of the listen, I'm not convinced I'm not gonna figure it out yet, but that part has become a little bit difficult. But I do think there could be a workaround for it. I'll keep you posted. But
Okay.
it's a I gotta tell you, I'm continuously surprise myself. I'm just willing to sit down and just try and fail for hours on end, which is what I did when trying to figure out how to use
Perfect.
Adobe Premiere, something I've never even thought about. Never even
Yeah.
thought about it in my brain,
No.
um, because of this podcast. So,
Because of this
never stop
podcast.
learning, guys.
Never stop learning. Even in your adult years, you can decide to have a podcast and figure out
Yeah,
a whole new hobby.
we'll keep you posted. I'll let you know if I get my expenditure approved. And you know what? Just for the hell of it, let me throw in this short one. It might not be timely the next time it comes out,
Oh,
but I just want everybody to read some of the text messages between Blake Lively and Taylor Swift. We're not going to go deep into it here, but it's really just celebrities. They're just like us, dumb dummies, just yapping on their digital devices and doing things for their friends, and then getting deposed and having all of those things sent out to the public for consumption. It's not like funny or sad or anything. It's just fascinating. It's just fascinating that these people who
are
are
just
so
like us.
famous are just like us. It's truly just like us. There was memes, there was like gifts being sent back and forth.
So,
It's honestly a good read.
to make it short, do we learn that Taylor Swift and Blake Lively were never in a feud over this? That's all I wanna know.
The last text message was basically Blake being like, "I think you're mad at me." And Taylor Swift being like, "I'm not mad at you. It's just I'm really busy and I understand that you're going through a lot, but you're talking to me like you're a robot and I just miss like my funny fun friend. But I know you're going through a lot, so see you soon, basically. But like no need to apologize. We're not in a fight.
Interesting.
It's fascinating. It's just like all other girls. It was like when I asked you at the beginning of that podcast taping 2 days ago if you were mad at me and you said no, I'm just mad. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. It's worth a read, but definitely, Google some sort of Substack article and don't go through the filings. That's not necessary.
And on that note, let's get into the book.
All right, so let's jump into our spoiler free section. Reminder the first 20 minutes or so, we'll chat high level about the book, synopsis, characters, what we generally thought about it. But it'll be spoiler free, so you can just gauge whether or not you want to read the book. And if you want to stay past that 20-minute mark, spoilers will abound. Here's a quick synopsis of We Who Will Die. Arvel, struggling to protect her brothers in the brutal Thorn District, makes a magical binding vow to assassinate an ancient vampire emperor, forcing her into a deadly arena designed to forge his elite guard. There, she becomes entangled with the Primus, who once broke her heart, and the Emperor's sadistic son, Rorik, both allies and threats as her own dangerous powers begin to surface. As survival, betrayal, and attraction collide, Arvel uncovers a conspiracy that reshapes her understanding of herself, her enemies, and the fate binding them all together.
Bum, bum,
Bum,
bum.
bum. So, this author is Stacia Stark, who I didn't do any research before the book into her. And actually, I kind of thought this was a debut novel, but it is absolutely not. She has
I
so
read
many. Yeah.
I read A Court So
Uh,
Cruel and Lovely, A Court This Cruel and Lovely.
yeah. Her biggest
Yeah.
series is the Kingdom of Lies series. And you did? You read the
Yeah.
series or some of the books?
I read, I think the first 2 books I read.
Okay.
If you asked me, I even read just like the Goodreads synopsis. They've left my mind. Those books have left my mind. I absolutely cannot remember them in any way, shape, or form, but I think I gave them, like, 4 stars.
Oh, okay.
So I guess
So, yeah, you liked them.
I liked it.
No, I didn't read them for sure. I like looked through to see if I did, but no, this is the first book I've read by her.
Okay.
Okay. And I mean, genre wise, straight romantasy. We really said we're going to kick the year off only romantasy books.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't know if we did ourselves a disservice there.
I feel like that's what we're going to have to talk about a little bit. So like Direbound into this was an interesting choice we made for ourselves.
Yep. So when I was thinking about tropes, from my notes from Direbound, I actually didn't even remove what I had for Direbound.
Yeah.
It's
So
the same tropes.
yeah, it's trials.
Yep.
The Chosen One,
The Found Family,
Found
the corrupt
Family.
monarchy,
Yep. It was
same thing.
same thing. In fact, when I started, I was like, "Oh, no.
Yeah.
I think I think this is the same book, but with less wolves."
Yeah, I think we've made a huge
Huge
mistake.
mistake.
This is basically the same book, but with vampires
Yes.
and no animals like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, exactly. No fun familiars. So, that being said, I think there was some interesting things about this book that set it apart, but we did read 2 very similar books back to back,
Yep.
100%.
Let's get into the characters.
Yeah. So, Arvel is our first girl. She's the main character, and she's, the girl from the wrong side of the track who's good with a sword
Yep.
and heavy with trauma.
Heavy with trauma, pretty badass, right? Knows how to fight, takes care of her brothers because her mom is an addict, basically.
Yeah.
And she's just trying to take care of everybody.
Yeah, she's just trying to get through. One of her brothers is very sick, so she does a lot of, like, her bodyguarding and just general jobs about town to buy
Yep.
medicine for him and to keep him well.
Yep.
And he's, like, really sick too, like, could just stop breathing at any moment.
Let's go to with Bran. So Bran is the vampire that Arvel gets into a bond with, and I called him a crusty, dusty vampire.
He is a crusty, dusty vampire.
Yep. He seeks out Arvel in order to make this deal. Um, and he's just skeevy. He's skeevy, he's slimy, he's crusty, he's dusty.
Yeah, and he definitely goes through, like, a bit of an arc throughout the book too.
Yeah.
He starts off sort of scary and then ends up crusty.
Yep.
I think that's accurate. Yeah,
Yep. He's addicted to the sun, which is a pretty funny.
thing to say about vampires.
Yep. But I'm also like, never heard that said before.
I know. That's one of the things I liked. After characters, I actually have some things to say about world building because I thought that was really where this book shined.
Okay. And then next we have Tiernan, who is meets Arvel when she's younger. He
Mhm.
is a noble person and they kind of become fast friends and grow up together. And he visits her on a regular basis in the Thorn, which is like kind of like the slums. And
Mhm.
that's her first love.
Yeah.
And he disappears at some point,
At
and
some
she
point.
doesn't know why.
Yeah. After the sands.
Yeah.
And then Warwick is the sadistic son of the emperor who also takes quite the shining to Arvel when she gets to the court and the games. And he's pretty mean.
Not Yeah, he's not a
He's
nice guy.
he's not nice. He's a big old meanie face,
Yeah.
100%. Very
Yep.
little redeeming about this man. And then I just had one more, even though we never see her, but I think she plays a big role, or we see her a bit in the flashbacks, is
Yeah.
Cassia.
Yeah. I had her too.
Yeah, which is Arvel's best friend, and they trained together to go to sort of the first round of gladiator-trials that everybody in
Mhm.
this kingdom has to participate in called the Sands, and it's a mandatory thing for all children of a certain age in this empire, and so they trained for that, and you're not supposed to necessarily fight to the death in the sands, but you can, and both her and Cassia fought together in the
Yep.
final battle, and Cassia ended up being killed, and this big trauma for our girl Arvel. She is not over
Yep.
it. She will never be
No.
over it, and
No.
it really shades a lot of her actions.
And the reason why people participate in the sands, even though they basically have to, is you do end up winning. It's kind of like a lottery. Like, you'll win. If you win the sands, you win a ton of money.
Yeah, yeah, but, like, if you don't win the sands,
You're dead.
you're dead or maimed or just also got a lot of trauma for no reason.
Yep. Can we talk about the magic system? So, I was going to say it's a little confusing. We have, your humans, which are humans. You have your
Mhm.
sigil-marked,
Yep.
which to me just feels like they have some airbrushing
Yeah,
on their head.
you know what I was you know what I was picturing it as?
I was
Like,
thinking of Vampire Diaries. Not Vampire Diaries, Vampire Academy.
Oh, no. Okay, interesting. I was thinking of Girls at Coachella, where they were just putting the fake tribal tattoos over
Yeah.
their eyebrows that's arched and they had dots on either side.
Yes.
That's what I picture them as. And depending on how large your sigil is, like how long it
Yeah.
is across your forehead, that's how powerful you are. So
And
there
what
was like
color it is.
gold, yeah, gold, silver, and bronze.
Yep.
Gold being the most powerful, silver second, bronze, whatever. But it actually matters less the color and more the size.
Size.
So if
Yep.
you were like a full crowned gold sigil, which means you have a big old Coachella crown, you're very powerful. And you can
Yep.
have what sounds like elemental powers,
Yep.
like, water, fire, air, etc. And
Yep.
then the smaller it is, the least powerful you are. And our girl Arvel is a gold sigil, but her sigil never grew. It's just like a small, tiny dot, it sounds
Yep.
like, in her forehead. So everybody's like, "Look at this girl,
Yeah.
barely a sigil marked."
Yeah. She's a loser, she's an outcast.
And it's also part of her general bad attitude and trauma, I think.
Yeah. I thought it was a little wonky,
Yeah,
that magic system part.
and then, of course, there's vampires.
Yeah.
But this is what I liked, though, that the vampires are not, like, totally traditional vampires that we think of. Of course,
Yeah.
they drink blood, but they also eat food, like, they need to. Like, they need
Yep.
to eat. They can't just, like, subsist on blood alone, but they can't also subsist on food alone. Um, they can't be in the sun, but many vampires can also be born vampires, so just children of vampires. You don't need
Yep.
to be made every single time, and those vampires can be in the sun until basically puberty, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So when they can no longer be in the sun because their powers come in, it drives some of them mad. Like, the fact that they can't go in the sun drives them banana cakes, sometimes
Because
literally.
they live for forever, they
Yeah.
live super long lives, and they just always remember the sun, and
Yeah.
all I kept thinking in my head was, like, sun-soaked.
Yeah.
Like, how we joke around, like, when our cats lay in
Oh
the
my god,
sun.
they can't charge. They can't just lie in the sun and
Yeah,
charge.
and we always say that our cats lie in the sun and charge, and that they're sun-soaked when you're
Yeah,
out in the sun too long. Yeah, they're sun-soaked and crazy because
and
they can't be
crazy.
out in the sun.
They can't be out in the sun. And they're dying for it. They need daylight rings.
Yeah, I was like, couldn't be me, like, they're talking about, like, "Oh, I wanna feel the hot, humid weather," and I was like, "Stay down there in the caves."
I know. Please, get yourself to Forks. It'll be fine.
I know, cry me a river. I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever seen anyone talk about vampires and what they go through not being able to be in the sun. That was
Yeah.
something I've never heard before.
Yeah. You know what? And new and interesting. They ran society. Like the
Yeah,
emperor is a vampire and everybody else is just sort of living under him. But they also just sort of lived in society. So yes, sure, the emperor's a vampire, but also vampires are like your banker. They can't be out during the day, but they're doing business. And then the way that it was sort of set up a lot of the times that the sigil-marked would be the vampires like representatives during the day. So they were like
yeah,
equally powerful, like just depending if the sun was up or not. And then humans were just humans, and they seemed
yeah,
to be pretty poor,
yeah,
honestly. They definitely were like lowest class. And
yeah.
then finally there was the Maginari, which were the magical creatures. And those were my favorite part, and I in we don't see enough of them.
I know, me too. I was gonna say that. Like, there was griffins, there were, like, pixies,
Yeah,
uh,
a
yeah,
gorgon at one point, that was
wyverns,
fun, yeah.
like
So, yeah, and it does sort of feel like maybe that's gonna be some of the second. Maybe that'll come more in the second book, but
yeah,
it also taught me that maybe I do need to read Onyx Storm. Maybe I do love just a magical animal book. Like, maybe I
yeah.
have to pick that back up again.
I was gonna say, I do feel like this book was really setting the story up.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, there's a lot of things that I assume you would find out in a second book,
yeah.
like the magical animals and why they're captured and why the
Mhm.
emperor is killing them, etcetera.
Yeah, and what exists a bit outside of this empire, because a lot of these animals come from what sounds like another country,
Yeah.
but they didn't really set up the world. It was very focused on this trial and the castle and things like
Yeah.
that.
I said that without being dystopian, it's giving Hunger Games in the fact that they are all participating in these trials essentially for the entertainment of the
Of
emperor and the nobles, but also if they win, they get money out of it kind of the same way the
Yeah.
Hunger Games contestants would. And I think I pretty much said almost the same thing in the last book in Direbound.
What I said for this one was that it was just giving Gladiator. Like, I wanted somebody to scream, "Are you not entertained?" the entire
So true. So
time.
true.
Like, it was obviously very much based on the Roman sort of, like, myths and stuff like that. The emperor was very much a Caesar type of character. He even thumbed up and thumbed down,
Yep.
like, when people were gonna, like, live or die. So that was very much, taken from that. Like, instead of being gladiators, the people who participated in the trials were gladins, and their trainers were gardens instead of, like, very much, a version of, like, the Roman Colosseum and gladiators. But are you not entertained? I wanted it so bad. Before we move on to if we like the book, who do
Yep.
you think should read this book, and would our mother? The answer is no to our mother.
No. No. I mean, I feel like this is a typical type of romantasy,
Yeah.
and that's all I kinda have to say about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we did ourselves a disservice by reading this directly after Direbound.
I I agree. I'm having trouble separating them both in
Yeah,
my head where I'm like, "Oh, wait, did this happen in this book?" Like, I mean, we're in a castle, we're in a training facility, we're meeting new people, we're fighting against them, we're making friends. Like,
yeah.
yeah, it's hard,
There's yeah.
a little
It
hard
is
for me
really
to be objective here.
I think so too. And I would say whether high level did I like this book, did I not like this book? I would say I liked it, but my one big caveat is that it took me really long to read. And I don't want to constantly compare it to Direbound, but Direbound was a 750-page book. I read it in 3 days. This was 450, and I think it took me 2 weeks or like
Yeah.
a week and a half. I was constantly reading other things, reaching for something else.
Yeah. Another note also, if you're getting the audiobook, I listened to the audiobook. I found the male, so it's like also a duet, so there's
Mm,
male, character voices. That voice I found, like, really hard to understand, and I think it was supposed to be because, they're kind of like this gravelly voice,
yeah.
but it was hard for me to understand. I was like, "Oh, I'd rather just read this scene
Mhm.
because I don't feel like I know what's going on because I can't really understand this guy."
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was tricky.
There was a few times that I had that too. Okay, so let's, go to one-line plots.
All
You go
right.
first.
Oh, me. Okay.
Yeah.
Desperate to protect her two brothers, Arvel fights her way through a brutal lottery that promises freedom, only to lose almost everything and return 6 years later with even less to lose.
Very literal. You went very, very literal.
I went very literal because, like, as I was writing it, I was like, "This girl, she's like in Groundhog's Day." I feel like just
Yeah.
doing the same thing over and over again, protecting the brothers, fighting, protecting the brothers, fighting. That's
Alright.
it.
Mine is a deeply traumatized eldest daughter gets voluntold into a lethal trial and spirals into a full Vampire Diaries situation, but with more gods and magical animals.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Spoiler
Spoiler.
alarm.
Spoiler
Spoiler,
alarm.
spoiler.
Alert,
Wee-oo,
alert,
wee-oo,
alert,
wee-oo,
alert.
wee-oo, wee-oo. Spoiler, spoiler.
Okay.
All right, let's get into it. So, Katie, when did you decide you did or did not like this book?
So here's the thing that I couldn't say in the spoiler free section is
Yeah.
this has my absolute least favorite trope in the
Yep.
entire world, which is brother lovers.
Yeah. I
And
knew you were going to say you hate brother lovers. I thought about
I
that immediately.
I I absolutely hate it. And basically what ends up happening is Tiernan, her first love and the guy that disappeared and kind of abandoned her, once she gets to this new trial, she learns that Tiernan is not only the primus, which is like the elite guard of the emperor, but also the emperor's son.
Yeah.
And which at first I was like, okay, whatever. They seem like they're, still getting on. They've kind of made up for why he abandoned her. But then I knew already that this Rorik guy who's being extra mean to her, once I knew they were brothers, I was like, I see where this is going.
Vampire Diaries situation. Katie's
I
favorite show and least favorite trope. She's so
Yeah,
mad
like
with the brother lovers.
I hate it. I literally hate it. It's so honestly, once we learn that Tiernan is also the son of the emperor, I was like, I don't want to read this anymore.
Yeah, and we found out that significantly later. I would say,
Yeah.
like, at the middle of the book. Like,
Yeah.
you went for a while, you found out he was the primus, and that was bad enough,
Yep.
that he left and became number 1 Empire Guard. And then you found out he was also the son of the emperor, and it was pretty deep in the book, and I was like, "Oh, no." I read that, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Katie's gonna hate this."
And I hate it. And I feel like that just kind of spoiled it for the rest of the book. And I mean, nothing really happens,
No.
but like this is obviously the love triangle being set up.
Yeah, and because Rorik is truly very bad throughout this book, just constantly killing people. And as the book goes on, you kind of get that he's killing people for the right reason. It has something to do with keeping the vampire god under wraps. And so he has his own agenda that's never fully clear. But
Yep.
and it's obviously the only thing he cares about. But like at one point he tricks Arvel into killing somebody. Like, she thinks she's killing the emperor,
Yeah.
who she needs to kill to, like, save her brothers. That's the deal she made with Bran, that she needs to pass the Sundering and then kill the emperor.
Yep.
And she thinks that Rorik is helping her like a dummy. Is really not using her critical thinking skills here.
No.
Thinks that he's helping her, and of course he's not. He just tricks her into killing a a person that's not the emperor. And it
Yep.
turns out that he's not completely blameless, this guy, but at the time she thought he was a good guy. And so she was carried that guilt for like half the book as well. And so like he was not a good guy. He maintains not a good guy, but you can definitely tell that there's going to be a redemption arc here. It's not like the prince from Direbound that when he got bad, you were like, "Oh, yikes. So you're never coming back."
Yeah. I hate it. Like I hate it. I hate it. I'm not interested in that storyline.
Yeah. You know what I put for this is that, and again, I'm so sorry to compare it to Direbound, but we were saying in Direbound, one of the reasons I gave it 4 and not 5 stars was that I basically called
Called. Yep.
every twist. And in this book, sure, I called a lot of them, but the ones I didn't call, particularly the ones at the end of the book, I didn't call because I didn't care. Like Bran being the third bastard son of the king, I was like, I didn't call it because I didn't care. Like, I didn't care about this dusty, crusty vampire. I didn't think 2 things about him. Like, he was there, he started the action, and he would pop up every once in a while, slowly getting crustier and crustier because he's
Yep.
addicted to sun potions. And I'm like, and he went from really scary to really lame. And
Yeah.
so I never thought twice about him. So when it turns out that he has this insane plan to take the throne as the bastard son of the emperor once he let some rebels kill him, I was just like, "Really? I
I was
didn't."
like, this is a stupid plan.
Yeah, like, I was like, "This is so dumb. This is so
But
dumb."
I kept laughing because the reason he wants to do this whole thing is because of the son. I didn't care about him either. I actually thought in the beginning of the book, I was like, "Ooh, I wonder if this is gonna be the love interest." But, you know, one thing about romantasies is whoever is giving the pet name, you know, the little pet name to
Yeah,
your female main character, that's a love interest.
yeah. Oh my god, what did
Little rabbit.
that's what he calls her. That's right. And then Tyrion, who seems like a totally fine guy, is also kind of like a wet blanket.
Yeah.
Seems fine. Like, he left Arvel to save her because he didn't want the dad to know and to, like, murder her, and then was just living in sadness without her while she was toiling in despair and trauma and poverty. And then they met again and only spent maybe 100 pages going back and forth about whether or not they want to be lovers again.
Yeah.
Decided yes. And this guy is just doing what his dad tells him to do because he has to, but he would love it if he could just run away forever. And he's a
Yeah.
nice enough guy, definitely loves Arvel. But
Yeah. I bet he strikes me as, like, a creative type. Like, he wants to just run away and be an artist,
yeah,
you
he
know,
does.
with his girl Arvel and her little brothers that are like children to them, and they just wanna live happily ever after by the sea. And what
Yeah,
I know exactly what we're gonna get in book 2 is that Arvel doesn't Arvel doesn't wanna run away to the sea. She wants to see this through. She wants to save everyone, and Rorik is going to be that person. And then we're gonna find out that Rorik was in love with Arvel first, or saw her first and wanted to be with her, and somehow
yeah,
Tiernan, the good artist boy, tricked him into not
yeah.
being with
And
her.
that I think was pretty much set up right at the very end. Bran, who also apparently has known Arvel since she's been a small child,
Yeah. Once again, it's like y'all are hiding in plain sight. Like, everyone knows who you are.
and was hinting that Rorik did see her first or whatever. And so these brothers were best friends until
They weren't.
basically Arvel came into the picture, but she didn't know. She was just a child trying to climb a tree.
Yep. It's basically, you know what? They were best friends until Catherine Pierce came into the picture,
That's what I'm saying. Vampire
and
Diaries.
and that's it, you know?
Yeah. The other plot twist that happened was that the serial killer ended up being the kindly trainer who we thought was really super nice, and his son and his wife were dead. The son died in the Sundering in the trials that Arvel is taking part in, and his wife got addicted to vampire blood, which is also something that can happen, and got turned into a vampire. So he lost her, and so now he's decided that the only way to do this is to bring back the god of death, and the way to do that is to serial kill people, basically sacrifice, quote unquote.
Yeah, unfortunately, he I didn't see that it was gonna be him. That is
Yeah,
something
neither
that
did
I
I.
was surprised about, but the reason that he thinks and, like, why he's doing it was stupid. You
But
know? I was like, "Ugh,
yeah,
you
it
idiot."
was.
Like,
And it was because he thought he was gonna bring his dead son and his vampire wife back, and I was like, I don't think that's how that works."
yeah. So I was just like, "Well, ugh, that's a bad plan too."
I know.
So,
Everybody had a bad plan.
yeah, but you know what I will say, in terms of themes?
Mhm.
Addiction. Heavy
Yeah,
theme throughout this book.
yeah, because it was Arvel's mom
Yep.
was addicted to what sounded just like a drug. It was literally called, like, Glimmer or something like
Glister.
that. Glister.
Glister.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, the vampires can be addicted to the sun. Anybody can be addicted to vampire blood. It was throughout this book. I thought it was actually very interesting. At one point, I did have a note being like, wow, I didn't think we were gonna be talking deep about addiction and what it's like to love an addict.
So there's definitely a monologue where Arvel is talking about how it is living with an addict, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this is getting deep."
Yep.
This was shocking as we're talking about vampires addicted to the sun, and I'm just like, "Ugh, you sun-soaked crusty dusties."
Sun-soaked crusty dusties.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I Now I think about it, thinking back on it, and I'm like, that's is silly. It's really
Yeah.
silly.
I will say another thing I thought was interesting is that these vampires who are convinced that the sigil marks can give them access to the sun and that the sigil marks are just keeping it from them because they're basically like jealous of vampires is also a interesting like have and have not situation because basically the vampires in the sigil marked could be equally as powerful.
Yeah, true.
You can be a weak vampire or a strong vampire, just like you can be a
Yeah.
weak sigil marked or a strong sigil marked, and they live together. But just because the emperor is a vampire, the vampires are technically more politically savvy. They're just like so convinced that the sigil marks are like out to get them, and they could be. I don't know.
Keeping them from the sun.
So, keeping them from the sun.
Keeping them from the sun. Stay in your little caves.
I did
Don't
sort
come
of
up
like.
here.
I did sort of like that everything was happening underground. Like as soon as she
Yeah.
gets into those trials, pictured like the gladiator catacombs from the movie Gladiator.
it made me think of Zodiac Academy and whatever book that they're, like, in a mountain, under a
Yeah,
cave, whatever. Like, that is just what I was picturing.
yeah, where they're yeah, where all of a sudden they're all in
Now
some
we're in
sort
a
of safe
cave.
house, and they can't get out of this giant cave, and we're in it for hundreds and hundreds of pages. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
That's what I kept thinking of, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Sign me out."
One thing I did like, and I think it's one thing that I always liked, was the voice of the audience character, and in this case, it was Maeva.
Yeah.
And she did, like, 2 things. 1, she was the daughter of, like, a high-ranking sigil-marked, so she gave us a lot of political info that we needed. And then 2, she really confronted Arvel about her bad attitude and trauma.
I thought that was good.
Because Arvel was really I mean, pushed her away throughout the book when
Yep.
she was just trying to, like, be friends. And when Maeva just happened to, like, catch Arvel at a very sad point, and Maeva was like, "You know, we could talk about it," and she was mean and pushed her away. And when she went to apologize for that, Maeva was like, "I accept your apology, but also fuck off. Like,
Yeah.
friends don't do this to each other."
Yeah.
And I think it really made Arvel, like, think about how she makes friends, how she reacts with anybody.
Yeah. How she basically, like, how she pushes everyone away.
Yeah. Like, even her brothers. Like, she doesn't tell her
Yeah.
brothers, like, a ton of things. I thought that was actually really good, and Maeva really made her work for it.
Yeah.
Arvel had to go and, like, free a bunch of magical animals underneath the stadium.
But
In
also
or
save her life, remember, because she was poisoned.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Because she was poisoned, went into the arena, and then Arvel just
Yeah.
went, "I know I'm not allowed, but zoop! Here I am
Yeah.
with my sword."
Yeah, like, Arvel literally saved her life, like, Maeva had to be her friend again.
Yeah, that's true. Although, Arvel likes to save people, so she probably would've
Yeah.
jumped in anyway, but
Yeah,
Maeva really
bit of a hero.
yeah, definitely has a bit of a hero complex.
Yep.
And I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, Kay. I don't think she's very smart.
I think, you know what? She's got her strengths,
I think she's got a lot of
and
brawn, no brains.
yep, I agree. I think strategy is maybe not her strong suit.
Yeah, yeah, she's definitely not a strategic thinker. She's
Mm-mm.
barely a thinker. I think she really needs to exercise those critical thinking skills. Alright, there were 2 things that I was confused about. 1, is the Emperor dead?
No.
You don't think so? I f did
No,
they
no,
tell us
he's
the
not dead.
Emperor wasn't dead? Because they were Bran was monologuing. What an evil
No, no, no,
monologue.
they said he had escaped, and the Emperor escapes before Bran shows up.
Bran was so sure that he was going to be dead soon, though. Bran's monologue got cut short because Rorik flew in on his wyvern, which I would have loved to see more of,
Yeah.
and basically killed him beforehand. So now her bond with him is broken. Great. Now she doesn't have to kill the Emperor anymore.
Yep.
And I guess they didn't really say whether or not the Emperor was dead, but we assumed
I
he's not dead.
No, we assume he's not dead.
Okay.
Yep.
And then 2, I wish we learned and knew more about her magic and how it was growing. Because remember she
Yeah.
had tiny little gold mark, and then once she started killing people,
Yeah.
it started to grow and she started to, like, take on the powers of the people that she killed,
Yeah.
which was
That's
interesting.
that's
Eh
what I think that's what her power is, and the
yeah.
reason why she never but that being said, I feel like she's killed a bunch of people. Maybe the other people that she killed in the sands were I don't know.
Well, I think that was the thing is that because those 2, like, siblings of the people that she killed in the sands were, like,
Yeah,
in the
Hester and Lester, something like
yeah,
that.
Hester and Lester,
Yeah.
um, but through the flashbacks, we find out she never actually killed that person. Cassia killed her, but
Yes.
by the time that she got there, she just whipped off her head, but Cassia killed that person and
Yep. Okay.
not Arbel.
Yep. Okay, yeah, you're right, you're right. So I think that's what her power
Yeah,
is that her power and that's the reason why it never grew was because she wasn't killing people at,
yeah,
like, 5 years old.
yeah.
But now that
So,
she's taken them down and snatching up their powers,
snatching
her little Coachella crown grows.
yeah, her Coachella crown is growing with some griffin power, with
Yeah.
some water power, and I'm sure with some other stuff.
Well, now with that other guy, some language power.
Oh, yeah, language power, that's right. I also wish we got a little bit more of how Rorik's double power works. He's a vampire and he's a sigil marked.
Once again, I think that's what they're setting up.
Yeah, I know that's what they're setting up. And also we sort of find out that Tiernan is also has some sort of additional,
Yep.
not just vampire power.
Well,
So
because they say that you can't like, you're not supposed to procreate a vampire and a sigil mark, and I think that that's just a lie. I think that you can. I just
you
think
can.
that
It's they're powerful and basically a new breed, and the Emperor
yeah,
is uninterested in dealing
yeah.
with that.
He's like, I already got these 2 losers over here, and they're about to take me out."
Yeah, they're not doing anything I say. I don't want a whole crowd of these people. Yeah. So yeah, so you're right. I think some of them are setups for sure for the next book. Okay, Katie. So what's your rating of this book?
So, I'm gonna give this a 3, and I'm giving it a 3. It really took me more time to get into it than I thought, and I feel like that could have possibly been because we read, basically the same book as this before in Direbound, but really, I give this 3-star rating for the brother lovers
Yeah,
and how I
you're
absolutely hate that trope, and so, like, I won't be reading the sequel to this because I already know that that's what's gonna happen, and I'm not interested in that at all.
yeah. I also gave it a 3. And
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it's because we read Direbound beforehand. And Brother Lovers doesn't bother me, not like it
yeah,
bothers you. But I do think that it didn't grab me. It just took me too long to read. There was no reason why. I just kept reaching for other books throughout the time that I was reading this. So I think that's just a big sign for me
yeah.
that I'm interested. And I don't think the questions at the end are enough that, like, the sequel's going immediately on a list. Maybe I'll read it, but it's nothing I'm super interested in.
Yeah, like, it doesn't really leave off at a cliffhanger, it definitely leaves off knowing that there's gonna be a second book, but how they've already set up the second book, I'm just like, "Meh, I know what's gonna happen. Rorik, you're gonna train Arvel, you guys are gonna
Yeah.
fall in love, you're gonna hopefully find out that Tiernan's a bad guy, so it's not just like, Arvel, you fell in love with this dude's brother, which is fucked up."
I don't think he's gonna be a bad guy. I think we're truly in a Vampire Diaries situation here, where Stefan was like the sweet little baby vampire, and sure,
Mhm.
maybe he did some bad things, but, you knew at the heart that he was a really good guy who just wanted
Yeah,
to live a simple life and just, not worry about being a vampire. And Damon was bad. He was a bad
yeah,
guy. He killed for fun. Sure, throughout the series, there was a bit of a redemption arc and he became a little bit less serial killery, but he was still not a nice guy. He was always selfish and going to do what he wanted to do. And I think that's what's going to happen. And I think she's going to just end up being like, thanks, nice brother, who wants to protect me, but I'm gonna go for this bad guy who supports me and is not trying to, like, wrap me in a cocoon. I think
yep,
that's what it's gonna be. And I'm sure, like you said, Tiernan probably did something sketchy when he was a small child to, like, steal her from his brother or something, but it wasn't gonna be anything too bad.
yeah. So, this is why brothers just stay away from your brother's girlfriends. It's gross, and it's
It's
never gonna
gross.
work out.
It's truly never gonna work out. That's true. You're gonna lose a brother for sure. Honestly, I think we didn't like this book more than I even thought when I was started this. But I think three stars is a good rating.
Yeah, I agree. It's not a
Yeah.
terrible book, it just has my absolute least favorite trope, and we read a book that was nearly exactly like it a week before.
Yeah. It's so exactly like it that it's actually making me rethink the romantasy genre a little bit.
I'm glad that we have our next pick because remember when we
We
were saying with Morgan, Coop's Kitchen,
Yeah.
on Off Book, how sometimes you just get too into certain type of genre or trope within the romantasy world, and you're like, I need to get a break from this. I feel that right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the, online chatter about romantasy, about people who don't like it, it's just like it's the same thing over and over again. And I'm like, listen, that's what genre is, baby. I'm not a hater on that. I mean, every romance book is, the same 5 beats, just with in a different place. And I love those. But this was so similar
Yeah.
that I actually blame myself. This is the first time we really did something back to back. And I think it was just because we were excited about these two books. All right, so tell everybody what your next pick is.
My pick is My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. So, a psychological thriller to get us out of this romantasy genre and into something else.
And you know thrillers aren't my thing, but honestly, what we just did
Yep.
was dumb. So
Yep.
let's get into something so different.
Yep.
And I've never read an Alison Feeney book. I know she's one of the big thriller writers at the moment.
Yeah. And I watched an adaptation just recently and I thought it was really good. It was
Yeah.
twisty. So, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. All right.
Remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, no genre shaming unless it's funny. Bye.
Bye.